Hey, hockey fans. Welcome to the Puckcast. I'm Gary with Bryn. James is in South Africa, so he won't be able to be with us on this
Just
stuff.
a normal vacation spot for us Utahns, South Africa,
Yeah.
sure.
So he's been on safari. Bryn, she wasn't with us on our
Yeah,
last episode. She was in Sweden, Norway, where else?
in
Netherlands.
Amsterdam, yeah. And so for 10 days, I couldn't watch any hockey, which was very difficult because I was 8 hours ahead,
Jeez, that'd be
and
rough.
so I felt very
Withdrawals.
yeah, a
Withdrawals.
lot of withdrawals.
Okay, let's get to it. First things first. So we're recording this right after the Hurricanes Rangers game. What a complete choke job by Carolina. Oh, come on. That was terrible.
Well,
Makes
part of
me
me's
sick.
I know, but part of me's not surprised at all. To be honest, I'm shocked they even forced a game 6. I mean, let's be honest. But they totally collapsed. You're
They
up
had the game.
3-1.
They had the game.
They had the
3-1.
game.
You gave a hat trick to a dude, Kreider, in the third period, like within 4 minutes. Now, a complete collapse. It makes me sick.
Did you see they showed this poor little boy in the stands
Yeah.
crying? And I was like, "Oh man, we've all been there." Made me sad though.
All right. So, what we're going to discuss tonight, let me just tell you. So, hang in there. We're going to talk about the Masterton award presented by the NHL. We are going to go over a little bit the team proposed team names and mascot for the Utah hockey team. I've got a pet peeve I want to bring up. I want to see what you think, Bryn.
Okay.
Uh, we're going to talk about the double cross check on McDavid. The two goalie interferences that happened in the Florida Boston series, back-to-back games, which involved each of their goalies. Anyway, we'll talk about that. We will give our view as to who's the top goalie right now in the playoffs. And then also talk about a little bit who we think the top player is on each team in the remaining teams, which it would include even the Hurricanes. But anyway, and then we'll go over the bracket and the series and the upcoming games and what we think on that. It seems like a lot, but we're going to fly through this stuff.
Okay, let's go.
So let's do it. Let's start here. Let's put this up. So, Connor Ingram, our goalie, Utah Hockey Club goalie, he won the Bill Masterton Memorial Trophy. Congratulations to him. Now, the trophy, we discussed this in our last pod, but it's an award presented annually by the NHL to the player who exemplifies the qualities of perseverance, sportsmanship, and I'm quoting, and dedication to hockey is voted on by the members of the Professional Hockey Writers Association. So, Connor Ingram, he had some issues, some OCD issues, and some lingering depression. It almost took him out of hockey, but he fought, he battled, and he overcame, and he became the starting goalie, had a decent year with the Arizona Coyotes and now with the Utah club. So congratulations to him on winning that award. I think it's cool.
It's really cool. And this is what's so fun is getting to know these guys on a more personal level because they're going to be the ones playing for us starting in the fall. And again, I know we've kind of mentioned this before. I don't know a lot about the players on the team, but this is fantastic. Congrats to him. Huge accomplishment. He should be very proud. And us as Utah hockey fans are very proud.
And he mentioned he didn't do what he had to do to to beat some of the problems he had to win an award. He fought it. He battled it. He's had some success. He's, I'm sure he's still battling these things, but he has come such a long ways. And so he received this as an award for what he's done. Anyway, it's great. Well done. Well done. Okay. I don't want to take a lot of time on this because I'm kind of sick of it myself.
Yes.
All the activism that's going on with what the team name should be and mascot and all that stuff. But here they are. Bryn, tell me what you think about this whole thing.
So this is what was given to us as Utah hockey fans as our survey to choose. I think we could choose 4 of these names. There's 20 names that's on this list that was given to us, and you can submit 4. Now, supposedly you can only vote once, blah, 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 blah. I guarantee there's ways of getting around it, and people are getting around it. I mean, some of the ones on here were not a surprise. We all knew Yeti was going to be on here, Outlaws, Mammoth, Black Diamonds. Like some of these we've seen swirling around social media for the last few weeks. But when I got this in my email and I'm reading through it, I thought to myself, is this real? Like I had to go back and check my email a couple of times and check social media. I'm like, this is the list. It feels like a bunch of 4th graders put it together. I've said it before. I've said it already. That's what it feels like to me. It feels like my 10-year-old and his friends were sitting around in a room, be like, oh, you know what would be so cool, bro? The glaciers. Like, that's what it is. I truly can't believe this is the list that they sent out to us. Like, canyons? Are they seriously considering Utah canyons? Come on. Some of these have to be fake. Don't you think? Like, it's a joke to me. Yeah, the Squall.
Fury, the Hive, Swarm, Utah Blizzard, really? Look,
Blizzard, I'm not surprised that that's on there.
Blast?
Swarm, well, the Blast is dumb. I don't know. It's frustrating to me that this is the choices, and it's also I'm a little frustrated that it's like this has been put out there, and then it seems like this is it. We can't have any more conversations about it. I mean, we've talked about an additional name that we would love to have added to the list. We're going to talk about that in a second. Okay.
I'll bring that up here in 1 second. I'll just say this about it. How do I say it? I just don't think this is the way you go about choosing a professional sport team, the NHL team, by putting it out there and having a poll that people are voting on it. Primarily people who are marginally hockey fans, and probably a lot of people that aren't even hockey fans. They're just kind of sports fans.
That's being generous.
People who have no genuine, all-in hockey sense are the ones going to be voting on it, voting on a team mascot. I just don't think that's a smart way to go about it. I think that's a mistake. I think whatever consultants that should be used. It doesn't hurt to give ideas, but you don't just put a poll out there from a bunch of people. I'll give you one example. So there was a jersey I put out on Twitter, and the guy didn't like it because it was so plain and whatever, according to him. But he said, but of course, I'm coming from the NBA perspective. And that's my point, is that there are people who they just don't have a hockey sensibility about them. And yet they're the ones who are going to have a massive vote on what a logo should be for the NHL, an NHL franchise. And I know it's a problem when there are guys on Twitter who have their Twitter handle, their name as the mascot they want. Okay, that's a little over the top for me. I just don't think the process is professional. I think Smith's blown it. So,
well, again, we don't know. how much stock is actually being taken from this survey. To be honest, I think he's made up his mind. He already knows what he's going to do, and the survey is just to placate people. That's personally how I feel. However, I do think he is going to go with the Yeti.
Oh, come on.
I
See, this
if
is where
I
it's so stupid to me.
Okay, but listen, it makes me angry because it's a social media frenzy. People have worked themselves up into this massive frenzy over some of these names. And anytime you're basing any decision or anything off of a social media frenzy, that's a mistake. You
Well
got to
said.
actually talk to people. Let us, like, Yeti came out of nowhere. What, just because someone put it on social media and someone created an AI logo and then the social media mob jumped all over it, that's why we're going to choose it as our name? I
There's
hate
the
that.
logo right there on the screen. That's the logo for the new team, the Yeti. You could ask, you go into some event, some restaurant, some bar, go wherever you want, and I guarantee 90 to 95% of the people have no idea what a Yeti is. Nobody knows what a Yeti is.
Well, an actual Yeti or the cooler?
An actual Yeti. They may know what this is, a product.
Well, yeah. Most people know what a Yeti cooler is.
Exactly. It's stupid. I think though what you just said is well said.
I don't know.
Now
I don't love the idea of like a magical mythical creature that has nothing to do with Utah. Okay, I get people are like, "Well, the Kraken, it's so cool." First of all, I think the Kraken is a dumb name. I'm going to be very honest. I've always thought it's a dumb name. But at least they are right next to the ocean. Okay, just so because Utah has mountains, that means we're going to do a Yeti? Like, it has nothing to do with Utah. And the whole process really frustrates me. I'm sick and tired of hearing about it, talking about it, but we're not done. This process is continuing on for a while, and it's just frustrating that people have taken to the streets to protest and like campaign for certain
yeah,
names. And
I think the process is second rate myself.
yeah,
Let me throw this up here. So there are pro teams with the same names, okay? Because I had
right,
someone come at me and say, well, because our suggestion, what it should be, they said, well, a pro team already has a name.
right.
And I've heard the whole thing about the Utah Eagles. Well, we couldn't be the Eagles because there's a pro team, the Philadelphia Eagles,
Right.
and all that kind of stuff. Well, Winnipeg Jets, New York Jets, LA Kings, Sacramento Kings, Florida Panthers, Carolina Panthers, New York Rangers, Texas Rangers, baseball. Then you have the Chicago Blackhawks, the Seattle Seahawks, and the Atlanta Hawks, San Francisco Giants, New York Giants, Arizona Cardinals, St. Louis Cardinals. I think that's ridiculous. I think we could actually be the Eagles if they wanted to be.
Yeah. We
Seems
know that we can't be the Golden Eagles. We understand that
no.
because Vegas has taken the word golden and you can't use golden now, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, this is one of the arguments that people keep saying over and over and again. Well, we can't use that name because X, Y, and Z uses that name. Okay, but to your point, people reuse the same names all the time
There's been names. And and in California, you have two professional teams, the Kings.
with the same name.
I find the whole argument ridiculous. Anyway, here's what it should be. I'm just telling you, everybody. Should be the Utah Wolves.
The Utah Wolves.
I mean, look at that jersey. That color, we didn't come up with this color scheme, though I do like black or dark color. It just looks mean when they're playing. It's like a
Yeah.
tough team. But I do like this powder blue. I do like the I like the design. It's very clean. It's very simple. I don't like all the wild kind of designs, particularly for hockey. I just don't think it works. Anyway, there it is, folks.
I know, and we've kind of been putting this out there on social media a lot over the last week.
Utah
Some
Wolves.
people, Utah Wolves, people have been receptive, and then we've also had people come after us and blah, 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 blah. But I said this already once, but I'm going to say it again. Hockey is the manliest sport that exists. It just is. So I want something that is masculine. I want something that is intimidating. I want something that is fierce and strong. A wolf, the Utah Wolves. And yes, by the way, wolves are seen in Utah. We don't have an actual pack that lives in Utah right now. They're endangered, but everyone that came after us and was like, "Oh, there's not actually wolves in Utah." Yeah, there is. Are there Yetis in Utah? No. Are there mammoths in Utah? No.
All right, that's our view.
That's my rant. It
There
should
you
be the
go.
Utah Wolves.
Utah
I
Wolves,
want it.
go on. Come on.
I want it added to the list. I'm sure it's too late. I understand that everyone come after us, blah, blah, blah.
Or
It
I'd go for the Utah Eagles.
Yeah.
Harken back to our teams.
I
Tip of
would
the
I'd
hat.
rather
Good
I'd
tradition.
rather have
Go Eagles.
something I would rather have something that has legitimate connection to the state of Utah. The state of Utah is an unbelievably amazing place, and so we're gonna come up with, like, a mythological pretend character. It's dumb to me. Rant
Well,
over,
not.
let's move
All
on.
right, let's go. Here we go. So, did you see this at the end of this is the end of game 3 where Zadorov cross-checked McDavid in the low back. Susie cross-checked McDavid in the face,
In the teeth.
in the teeth, almost got him. Susie got 1 game. Zadorov got $5,000 fine. Is that good enough for you?
Well, I mean, let's be honest. The crosscheck wouldn't have hit him in the mouth
Mhm.
if Zadorov hadn't hit him in the back. So
Oh, it hit
I
him in the neck then.
well, I guess that's true. That's true. So it seems odd to me that they are getting different punishments. It's kind of I feel like it was the whole thing together. They should be getting the same, but uh,
I don't think 1 game is good enough for something like that. They could have
it was
knocked McDavid out of the playoffs.
it was ugly.
Zadorov's a goon.
It was
He's a
ugly.
bum. Hit the gut. Comes up from behind. He doesn't even see him coming, and he cross-checks him in the lower back where you're vulnerable. A lot of times, not a lot of pad right there. So
Yeah.
he's an idiot. I'm just gonna say it. Then you don't put the stick up in someone's face. He should have got, I say, 2 to 3 games.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
a good point.
uh, anyway, okay. So let's throw this up here in the Boston, Florida series. Um, of course, Bennett from Florida knocked Marchand out of knocked him out of perhaps the series. If you've
Yeah.
seen it, I think he punched him. I don't
He
think that was a
did punch
mistake.
him.
You see that one angle, and he cold cocked him. Boom, out.
Yeah.
So in this game, so you had Bennett. Um, I wouldn't call it a cross check. I say it was a hard shove into Coyle, who fell onto Swayman, and then he scored a goal. It was reviewed, and it was not determined to be interference on the goalie, and the goal counted, and it tied the game up. My view is that was interference. That should have been called. What do you think? I thought it was goalie interference. Bennett pushed Coyle onto the goalie. He
He
couldn't
did.
move.
He did. This was actually like the one game you and I were watching together. We haven't watched a lot together this year, but we were watching this one together and having the debate as it was in real time. Um, I am really surprised that they didn't call this back. I'm surprised that they let the goal stand. But I also feel like if you're there in front of the net as a defender, like you got to be strong on your feet too, strong on your skates. And he like the push, especially the above angle, didn't seem
He
like
got it
Bennett
pretty
pushed
good.
him that hard. I don't know. I can see why they didn't overturn this one. I probably think that they should have, but I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
To
think they
me,
should have done it. Okay, so on the next game, I forgot who it was now, for Boston. But of course, it's just a still shot of the play. So you'd have to watch it, of course, the overhead. But if you watch, it's not so much the stick was knocked out of Bobrovsky's hand. It was the stick to his right skate. When you watch it, and it's in the blue, he shoved Bobrovsky skate backwards. It took a moment for Bob to get reestablished, and then DeBrusk scored.
So it's
I watched.
Heinen. Heinen is the Boston player.
It was Heinen. For me, I felt like this was goalie interference as well. I think they should have called it that, but there was no way they were going to let the Bennett interference go and call this goalie interference. There would have been mass chaos. There would have been mob rioting.
Probably. Yeah, when you watch it, not just the still shot, but when you actually watch the video of it, Heinen's skate pushes Bobrovsky's skate behind him, and then the stick moves and all of that with him, and it's in the blue paint. So the thing that I find the most interesting is there have been 5 goals challenged for goaltender interference in this playoffs so far this year, and all of them have involved the Panthers. All 5.
I didn't know that. Wow.
And that's just I don't know if you can say coincidence, because some of them have been called like against Florida and some of them been called for them, but in reality, there's only been one, that one that we just talked about, where it negatively affected the Panthers. But so there's been 5 and they've involved the Panthers every time.
That's interesting. I did not know that. All right. Well, here is Anderson's out now after the chokorama, and he choked on a couple, I think. But so those are the goalies left in the playoffs. Of all of them, who would you say is the top goalie right now, Bryn?
Okay, right now I'm gonna at least narrow it down to Bobrovsky and Shelovs. That's how you say it, Shelovs?
Yeah, something like that.
For Vancouver.
Shelovs.
So those are at least my 2, and then I'll see if I can I'll see if I can pick just one. But I mean, Shelovs, like, the firepower from Edmonton that gets shot at him every game, and he continues to make just unbelievable saves. So he would be a top for me. And then Bobrovsky's kind of the same way. He played a game, I can't remember if it was game 1 or 2 against Boston, that towards the end, I mean, Boston was just throwing every single thing at him, and he saved every one of them. Those are my 2 guys right now.
I like that. Seelovs, he's been a story. There's no question about it. But for me, I would go with Swayman, with Boston, Jeremy Swayman.
Oh, okay.
He was the difference in the Toronto series for sure. And I still think because Boston, when you really look at their team, they're just not an offensive. They don't have a lot of offensive firepower. At least it isn't happening so much. You can go look at their shot totals. It isn't that much. Swayman, I think, just been the difference for Boston. If he would have just been average, I don't think they'd be anywhere close. In fact, I don't even think they would have beat Toronto. But he's been a wall in net. So,
but Boston, have they still been doing their 2 goalie thing? Because they were, so they've stopped that.
They stopped it when. So let's see. Swayman came in game 2, I think it was, in the series with Toronto. And he's been in ever since because he was lighting it up. Like a 9.8 percentage. I mean, save percentage, 980 save percentage, stuff like that. It's just unbelievable. He was hot. And he's still good. I mean, you have to really work at it to get something past Swayman. So for me, it's him. Now, I would for the other guy that I think's been a big difference is Shesterkin with New York.
Yeah, I was just going to say that.
But
Yeah.
he has a lot more in front of him, in my view, than Swayman does. So I go with Swayman in that regard. So let me put up here. So this is 2 top players from every team. Now I know that's limited. There's so many good players, and sometimes the big scorers get all the love, but in fact, defensemen and other all-around players are just doing a phenomenal job, and so they get overlooked because they don't put points up. But anyway, I took 2 of the major players from each team, and so I ask those who are watching or would listen, of these 2 right now in the playoffs, who would you say would be 1 and the other would be 2? I mean, on some of these you could go 1A, 1B, but what do you think?
Well,
It's Oilers, Draisaitl or McDavid?
oh god. Yeah, that's like I don't even know how you find arguments for to put one in front of the other, but I'll say Draisaitl just because I feel like McDavid always gets the glory.
Gosh. I don't know. I go back and forth on this because McDavid does stir the drink,
Yeah.
but Draisaitl is lighting it up. So right now, I give the edge to Draisaitl. The interesting thing about top scorers in the playoffs, as of right now, at least, well, I'm not sure if I don't think the New York game would even change this, but Draisaitl leads in points with 20. Then you have McDavid, and then Bouchard, the defenseman for Edmonton, is third on scoring. But I think McDavid only has 1, maybe 2 goals at most.
Yeah.
But he does so much to set up everybody. And anyway, but right now, Draisaitl's the guy. He's lighting it up. Avalanche, McKinnon, McCarr. That's a tough
McKinnon.
one too.
I'll say McKinnon, and I will be very honest that I have not been able to watch as much Avalanche Stars as some of these other games, but the one the other night was great. When was that?
I go with
Last night?
McKinnon. I still think, yeah.
Last night when the
McCarr.
Avalanche came back and won?
Yeah, they came back, but then they took the lead and maintained it and beat the Stars. So I still go with McKinnon. He's the guy. The Rangers, there's some other guys you could put up here. Zibanejad, Trocheck. I lean toward Trocheck. I don't like the guy per se, but he has scored. I mean, but after tonight, however, I guess that could be a bit different. But anyway, up on this list, it'd be Trocheck for me.
I'm gonna go with the Musketeer, Zibanejad. He looks like the Three Musketeers.
It's an ugly look, if you ask me. But Panthers. Okay, this is an interesting one.
Oh,
Barkov and Tkachuk.
I'm just gonna say Barkov because I like Kachuk, but his mouth guard drives me insane. I can't put it in your dang mouth.
I know it does drive me crazy too.
He's always chewing on it.
Tkachuk gets on my nerves, Mr. Tough Guy, as I call him. He's a factor, not quite like last year's playoffs where he's getting all these OT goals and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
for me, it's Barkov. He's not the flash guy. He's a big dude who can control the puck, who can enter the zone with the puck, get things set up. He has a heck of a shot, and he sets people up. I think Barkov's having a fantastic playoffs. He's fun to watch, if you ask me. The
Agreed.
Stars, Heiskanen, who's a defenseman, and Robertson is a forward. They spread it out a lot, I got to say, with the Stars and the way they play, but I go with Robertson. I feel like he's found his game in these playoffs, and is he's a sniper, and he's coming through.
I don't have a huge opinion between the two of them. I'll say Heiskanen because you said Robertson.
Canucks, Besser, and Hughes. Hughes is a defenseman. I say Hughes because he doesn't have as many points, and he's getting beat up a little bit, but he is so smooth with the puck and the way he is a general on the ice,
Mhm. I
and he
agree.
can control so much.
Yeah.
So
Hughes.
Hughes is the guy for me with the Canucks. Hurricanes, you're out. Aho scored tonight. Gensel did not, so therefore I go with Aho. Guys weren't good enough. Sorry.
Um, I'm gonna say Burns because he's got the best playoff beard, but now he's gonna shave it. So he
I don't think he will. He's had that thing for 10 years or whatever.
that's true. He has kept it. It looks
He's
like
a mountain man.
there's birds living in it and there's a nest in there.
And the Bruins, DeBrusk and Pasternak. I mean, I don't think either of them are lighting it up. Honestly, the interesting thing is Marchand still has more points than either of these guys.
And
And
he's
he's
been
been
out
out for
for
the last two games or so.
2 games, yeah.
Um, but I would go with Pasternak. He's had DeBrusk had some big goals too, or big goal here or there, but I still lean Pasternak because he is the sniper and he's come up with some timely
Yeah.
goals, and he took a good punch from Kachuk, so I'll give him that.
Oh, right. The the fight that night, the Kachuk and Pasta fight.
I
Yeah,
think
we'll
that
go.
was I think that was stupid for him to do that. I mean, okay, cheers. I'll clap for him for doing it, but man, he's out of his league when he does that stuff. Could have cost
Yeah.
him. Could have cost him. So, all right, just to close this down, we have some series coming up. It's the Canucks Oilers tied at 2-2. How do you think this plays out?
Gall. This is the series that well, no, see, I feel like Avalanche and Stars could go to game 7 too. I don't know how this is gonna play out. I thought Edmonton was not gonna be able to keep up, but then as I've been watching them, they've actually really surprised me. I don't know, I think Vancouver is gonna take the series.
Dang.
You don't wanna say it, I know you don't wanna say it, which that game is
No,
going on right now. Gary's
so don't
not
say anything.
I'm not gonna say anything, but as we are recording, that game is happening right now.
I think it goes 7, but somehow the Oilers pull it out.
I'd love to see it.
Okay, so you have the Avs and the Stars. That's 3-2 for the Stars, but now they're going back to Colorado. How do you think that's going to play out?
I still think the Stars. I think the Stars are gonna pull that one out. I think it was you that tweeted this, how the Stars look a lot like Vegas did last year, where it's all coming together for them, so I think they're gonna take that series.
Yeah, I still think the Stars do it because I'm not saying they necessarily are playing the same style or system. No, same system as Vegas did. I'm not getting that intricate, but when I watch Dallas, or at least up to last game, teams that win the Stanley Cup are usually a machine through all 4 lines, and they just kind of, line comes out, they just kind of grind through it all and control and win in the end. And that's what when watching them take a 3-1 lead on Colorado, I
Yeah.
felt like, Jesus, they do remind me of Vegas in that regard. And so I think they'll win it. They'll win one of the next 2 for sure.
Well,
I just
yeah.
believe they will. But having said that, when you got McCarr and McKinnon, man, you never know. And so then now we have Florida and Boston, 3-2 going back to Boston. How's that going to land out, you think?
I I'm surprised it's 3-2 actually. I thought the Panthers were gonna put it away.
Yeah, me too.
Um, I I still think the Panthers are gonna win. Who knows if Marchand's gonna come back? I don't know if he's gonna be able to come play. I think the Panthers is gonna be a better matchup with the Rangers, and I don't really wanna see the Rangers win it.
True.
So,
I'd agree with
I
that.
yeah, I like Boston though. I don't have anything against Boston. I don't know. I'm leaning towards the Panthers in that series.
I'm with you. I think the Panthers, they got to win one of the next two if it goes that far. I just can't believe they would have lost 3 in a row to Boston.
Right.
Bob's too good of a goalie, and they have some fantastic players throughout the lineup. I just think in the end, of course, now Swayman could steal it. He's my guy. He's my goalie. He's been playing so good that he could shut it down. It's always the wild card in any playoff series, but I still think that Florida has too much for Boston in the end, so I'm going with Florida. And I might just say here, out of interest, is that so on Florida, as I understand it, there's 2 unrestricted free agents. Mansour and Reinhardt. Is that right? I think, or am I thinking of son? It's Montour. So a defenseman, and he's good. Unrestricted free agent. Reinhardt, unrestricted free agent. I'm saying that because we have a lot of cap space for the Utah hockey team. They could make a play for either of those guys. I would go Montour, a solid number 1D. That'd be big. And then Gensel's an unrestricted free agent from Carolina.
Ooh.
Not Carolina. From the Hurricanes.
Let's do it.
And so, we got some cap. We'll see. Maybe those guys are in there. So anyway, there we have it. Leave us your comments, your opinions. We love it. And then we're just going to end on this again as a nice reminder.
Utah Wolves, baby. Let's do it.
Utah Wolves, come on, spread that around. Send that off to Ryan Smith.
Seriously, somebody.
Look at that.
Somebody send it to him. It's so cool. I love it. Let's do it.
Absolutely.
All right. Make sure you're subscribed, following along. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, everywhere. YouTube. Share it. Like it. Love it. Utah Wolves.
Enjoy the games, everybody.
Yeah. All right. See you later.